I heard that. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Today is May the 4th, 2021. Our thought for today is real change, enduring change happens one step at a time. That's by Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice. I'm sorry. We want to go ahead and officially call this meeting to order tonight. Tonight I'm going to ask if Commissioner Cowan, if you would lead us in our prayer tonight, and Commissioner Edwards, if you would lead us in our pledge tonight.
Let's pray. Our Father in heaven, Lord, we thank you, dear God, for your blessings on our county. We thank you, Lord, for our blessings on our state and our country, Lord. Lord, we just pray, God, that you continue, Lord, to give us wisdom and guidance as we make decisions for our county. Lord, we just thank you for everything you've done for us, everything you provided for us, and we just give you thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Commissioners, before we adopt the agenda, I'll ask you if we would remove item number 14 off the agenda, please. Item number 14. I seek a motion that we approve the agenda, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess I'm asking for what reason?
I'm sorry?
Why are we taking it off? Is there a reason, or we just,
There is a reason, because we didn't get all the responses in
Okay.
in an adequate time, so we were moving it off the agenda.
okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Next, we have citizens' comments. This is an opportunity that we allow citizens to come up and make comments about agenda topics only. Agenda topics only. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please come and state your name and your address for the record, please. Agenda topics only.
Frederick Johnson, 1036 Highway 162. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Commissioners, I'm so proud to see that you got something here, number 16, something about Moat Road and Highway 162. Glad that this is coming up. I don't know exactly what you got in plan or anything like that, but while you're working on it, let's try to get that speed limit lowered down and so forth and so on. So if you do that, then, I'll be well pleased if I can get in and out of my driveway. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Hello, Victoria Redding, 3091 Fairview Road, Covington, Georgia. Can you hear me okay?
We can, yes, ma'am.
Mary Terry James, Covington, Georgia, District 3.
We'd like to speak today on the consideration for the Juneteenth Festival. Let's see. The Juneteenth Festival is celebrated for the day the slaves were finally told that the Confederate forces lost. We should make Juneteenth a holiday to mark a major milestone against slavery and injustice in America. Juneteenth defines the end of America's or Americans owning other Americans. Therefore, showing the sin of the United States is recognized and brought to an end. We talk of one Newton. One Newton is made up of many cultures, and for some, the only view they get of diversity is what they see on television or the news. By making Juneteenth a holiday, it states that Newton County supports and stands behind educating and bringing all cultures together to celebrate how America sees all people as equal and knows the importance of representation. We are asking Newton County to help fund the Juneteenth celebration and make it a holiday for Newton County.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies.
Good afternoon.
My name is Charles Jonathan. I'm 1020 Lower River Road. I see that the board had changed faces. My representative's in there. I would like to know, have y'all addressed the problem out on Lower River Road with the garbage being disposed of? People are just throwing sofas, garbage, anything. And then when they come and cut the grass, they cut it out and just throw it. I know that it's our responsibility to police our neighborhood, but it needs to be clean. And I do appreciate you all doing something about Highway 162. That has been a sore in my side ever since. But just like the landfill. But keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
My name is Brendan Cherry. I live at 30 Glen Isle Drive, Covington, Georgia, 30016. I just wanted to make a comment concerning the variance appeal this evening for 520 Smith Store Road, and just say that I personally am not for it. I live just a few houses down from that, and we already have several who have parked trucks on Smith Store Road, and I've spoken with Commissioner Mason about this earlier this week. And so there's already been a problem with it that we've had to, people have had to file complaints for. And so I think that if this were to be approved tonight, it would really just begin to set a precedent to continue to allow others to come and seek variances and then have approval for this one. You'd be right back to where we are now with those who are already parking their dump trucks in violation of the current zoning. And then, and I do understand that this gentleman is trying to have a business and trying to make a living, and I can respect that. I know there are lots of people who work from home, but at the same time, this isn't a home office. We're talking about having dump trucks coming in and out of a neighborhood on a regular basis. And so for that reason, I hope that you will uphold the decision by the Board of Zoning to deny that variance this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Thank you. Next, in the chairman's report tonight, we have our state rep, Mr. Dave Belton, here with us tonight. Sir, if you would you like to come at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do appreciate, it's always a pleasure to come back to talk to the commissioners of Newton County, and sure appreciate all your help and support through all the years. I brought a resolution, is that here today, this morning? Just celebrating the 200th century bicentennial. I think it's a great year it's been a tough year for Georgia, but it's been a great year for Covington and for Newton County, and I just wanted to come here and show my support for y'all.
Thank you for being here tonight, sir. I know you had a great audience today at the Rotary, I was told. I hope everything went well.
I think so. I just got back from Eastside High as well. That's why I arrived just a tiny bit late. Every year I present all the AP scholars and scholars with distinctions, and it's amazing how many. It's amazing how over 80 AP scholars at Eastside. When I was in school, I had one AP course, and I didn't do very well. And these kids are doing 6, 7, 8, 9 AP courses, and it's just truly amazing how well they're doing. But I'm not going to read this whole thing, but just say it, concerning the 2021 Newton County, Georgia bicentennial and celebrating the 2000th anniversary of Newton County. 200 years, isn't that amazing? 200 years for this county. It's truly historical. I went to school in Oklahoma, where the state hasn't even been around for 75 years, and here we are, 200 years old. And so just wanted to present this to you. If you want to take a shot of.
Sir, we want to thank you for all that you do for our community. We know that you and the other our local delegates are doing fighting for Newton County down there, so we greatly appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much. Next, we have an update from the JDA. Ms. Sarah Hall and Mr. Jerry Silvio is here tonight. Thank you guys for being here tonight.
Thank you. Good evening. It's great to see everyone. I know Jerry and I are happy to be back for the first quarter, and I know we said at the last meeting that we'd be back for the end quarter and the new quarter, and it just seems like, how are we in May already? But we have some really exciting news, so we are not going to cover all the details of the quarterly report because we have some really tremendous things, but a few things we want to focus on tonight is one, is that post-COVID, we say post-COVID and what we're seeing, people are coming back. People are coming back to visit the park. We've had a lot of visitors, whether it has been people like Representative Belton and other people elected from the state, but also representatives that are coming around from different industries and companies, and even groups coming around to look at our park as inspiration. And so that's been exciting to see activity coming that way. We have also focused on other prospects and fit for the park, and as a result of that, I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that we've had an exciting announcement that we have a new tenant coming to the park. So I'll get to that in one second, but one of the most exciting things, and if you caught the paper and saw, is that our friends at Facebook did their first annual grants for the community, and they got, oh, that's a dog. They gave away a little over $210,000 in community action grants to our 4 counties, and grants that they were awarded, and this will be an annual contribution back to our communities. And so, again, when we look for prospects, we not only look for prospects, we look for partners. And when we see our partners coming back to annually give back in that manner, it's incredible. So to kind of give you an idea who they gave to the Newton County school system. Oh, Jerry. They gave to our Walton County schools, Jasper schools, Social Circle primary schools. They gave to Sustainable Newton County, Inc., Camp Twin Lakes, Family Promise of New Rock, the Boys and Girls Club of North Central Georgia, Georgia State University, and the Newton County Library System. So we're very excited to see them. Lots of Newton County names, Newton County familiar names that we see that are here. So again, wonderful to see them contributing, giving back. So as mentioned, we have some incredible news, and to be here tonight and tell you that we have officially completed the park. And so the park of Stanton Springs is officially full. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that when this concept was started 23 years ago in 1998 by a lot of Newton County legends, one being the late Chairman Davis Morgan. I know some of his family is here tonight, and without that vision and stronghold, we would not be where we are today. Chairman Morgan, when he had the thought of really bringing together regional partners to create jobs, to create investments, and to create abilities for people to come here and live and work and thrive for something in Newton County that was different, that was diversifying our market. It truly was a visionary step. And I think at that time when you saw 4 counties come together to buy 1,600 acres worth of land, it was a crazy concept. And a lot of people still look at it today as a crazy concept, but to us, I think it is prosperity. And at the same time, when you look at the park, there are not many other parks in the entire nation that can say they have their tenants are each over $1 billion or more in investment, and thousands of jobs that have been created out of that park that is truly stand above not only in the state of Georgia, but the entire country. So for that, I think that is a huge kudos for what we have been able to do, and through your work and through your testament, sitting around this horseshoe and many of those before you, thank you for standing the course. So I've had the honor and privilege to go to all the other counties except for Walton, because they meet at the same time. And so my partner Shane Short and I've had the chance to go to Jasper and present checks, and Morgan this morning and present a check. And today we are going to present a check back to Newton County, to the chairman today, in celebration of our recent land sale and coming back to our community. This is separate from any funding that you see from the tax base, so that will be on top of this funding. And this number is really significant for us as well too, because this number will actually make our county and the other counties whole from our original investment. So from here on out, from everything that we've invested in is now added on top of this. So we're seeing the full-on return, and that's exciting. What a milestone moment to be able to, one, take care of the debt with our last tenant, and now to make our counties officially back whole from what we put in those time periods. So today, thank you, Jerry. And again, Jerry, thank you. Where's the halt? There it is. Today, we'd like to present Chairman Baines and the Newton County Board of Commissioners. We'd like to present to you a check for $2,606,250. Thank you. Cool.
Yeah, so I'm on the board. Y'all come, please.
So to kind of put that a little bit into context about those numbers, I just want to share this with you and then take any questions on things as well. Is that number, 2.6 million, it would take 968 homes valued at least $200,000 to equate to $2.6 million in Newton County. Almost 1,000 homes annually of at least $200,000 in a value. It's also half of our annual income for our TVT tax. So to kind of think about those numbers and what we're putting into perspective, and again, this is the beginning, and it's also the next start of the JDA. The JDA is continuing on. This is not the end, even though we are complete with this portion of the park. We have other endeavors that we are looking at in and around the region, some in Walton County at the moment, that would go north of I-20, and so we're very excited about that, and it'll kind of project us into the next frame. But again, thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Well, first, guys, thank you so much for all that you do. You know, Commissioner Henderson, I think Commissioner Henderson was here when all of this got started, and Chairman Davis, and he know the vision that they had, and you know, we're trying to continue that vision, and it's happening. It's real life. It's not a myth anymore. You can see it that things are happening out there, and I do see Captain Morgan here today. Chairwoman Morgan is here today, and Chairman Davis, that's Chairman Davis Morgan, that is her husband. So I know she know all about this, and she was in the house when he was struggling trying to put this together. But we want to thank all the people that came before us to actually put it in place, and we're so happy that we were able to carry it out. This wasn't an easy pull to get $2.6 million. I must say, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. At first, I was the only one in the room that wanted $2.6 million to come back to the county. Before we left out of the room, everybody was in agreement, so I'm excited about that, and things are moving well. Guys, y'all have any questions? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I think that was a great job. So I think if we're going, I'm just the type of old man that believes that in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you came from. And I was somewhere here, maybe at the beginning of it, and when Davis kind of sold the board his dream. And what better way to honor somebody? I mean, we can say a few words, and after a while, and might go in the paper. But you can better serve him by putting a plaque or something out there in remembrance of what he was trying to do for his home. He lived. He was born and raised here, to the best of my knowledge, and I believe he was born and raised here, by just erecting something to remember him for his service to Newton County.
You want to tell them?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, Commissioner Henderson, I think you just signed yourself up to be on the committee.
Hey, that's great.
The JDA is working on that. They know there are many members, including Chairman Morgan, that have put this together, many members that we have lost, even some recently. And again, yes, the JDA is working on that, and to figure out how the best way to honor them. They want to do it down at the park. We have come up with a lot of ideas and thoughts, and one thing is that also too, Mike Hopkins and his team is willing to participate in that. They've had other people that were a big contributor of being that supplier of our resources as well. And so you will see something very soon. It is coming, full celebration. COVID stopped a lot of our celebration to open up the parkway and have these grand thoughts, and now that we're able to do that again. But thank you. I completely agree, and thank you for your commitment on all this time too.
And one last question, if I may add, and I think I want to ask this question, maybe to Lord. The $2 million that we're getting, is it going to general funds so we can ease some of the tax burden from the citizens of Newton County, or where is that money going to be?
At least temporarily, what it will do will have to go into the fund balance. And right now, since we're working on the budget, we will determine,
how best to use that money. But once it's deposited in our bank account, we have to put it in the fund balance for the time being.
Absolutely. I just want to say one of the things that, if my memory serves right, and maybe former chairwoman Kathy Morgan can correct me if I'm wrong, but this was one of the reasons why we all sold in on it, because it was supposed to have been, hopefully, money was being raised or collected to ease the tax burdens of the citizens of Newton County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Commissioner Edwards, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, first of all, I have a comment, a couple comments basically, is the foresight of former boards, particularly the late Chairman Morgan. You know, we can't say enough about those boards. Commissioner Henderson was on those boards. So we've reached a point, Sarah, where we're at we're break even right now, right? So anything from here on out is money in the pockets of the counties, the 4 counties, right? And I just I can't emphasize enough what Sarah said in terms of close to 1,000 homes.
Yeah.
We've basically avoided overburdening our schools, our roads, and our other infrastructure. But from here on out, it's money back in the taxpayers' pockets. We hope. I hope. So, but I wanted to make a couple other comments, particularly the JDA. I know Jerry and Mr. Chairman had. There's been. I know for a fact there's been some convincing that's had to be done of maybe other members down there to do certain things with money, get it back to the counties for one thing. So, and I appreciate you too for doing that for us. But I want to call out Sarah and her team, our economic development team. We have put billion-dollar-plus companies in Stanton Springs. That's absolutely unheard of across this country. One of them, the first one, we thought was absolutely huge, and it is, but it's nothing compared to the other 2. And we appreciate all 3 of those tenants down there, and we appreciate what y'all have been able to do. It's funny, I've got a buddy in South Dakota that knows about this park, and it's not through me telling him. He asked me about it. He's a state representative in South Dakota, and he asked me about what we had going on there. So we are known across this country. We are the envy. That park is the envy of this country in terms of industrial parks. And it's in no small part because of the vision of a lot of our leaders, and just as importantly is the team of economic development people we have in this county. So I want to thank you for that, Sarah, and thank you, Jerry, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. It's 7:30, and I hate to rush you guys off, but we got to get into zoning. But I got to say this. You guys, Sarah and Shane, and you guys work so hard, and Jerry, y'all are a heck of a team, and you do what you do with class, and you're known all over the state for doing what you do. So I greatly appreciate all the work that you guys do. And Commissioner Edwards is 100% right. This is the only way that you relieve taxpayers with burden is bring in industry. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys, it is approximately 7:31. We're running just a minute behind time. We got to make sure we get into zoning now. Shana Applewhite, if you would, please come, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Today we have one case. It's actually an appeal case for a variance that we had. The case number is APP 21-000001. The original case number was a variance, so the original case number was VAR 21-000003. The name of the applicant is Timothy, the applicants are Timothy and Cheryl Bell of 520 Smith Store Road. Tax parcel is 15-24. and they're on 1.4 acres located in District 2. And the present zoning is AR, agricultural residential, and it's a single-family residence. So the appeal request, it's an appeal to the Board of Zoning Appeals decision, which was denied at the March 25th, 2021 meeting, which was to be allowed to park 2 commercial dump trucks on their property. And the applicable standards, section 515-010B, 1 and 5, number 3, of the Newton County zoning ordinance. And section 515010 general requirements. So section B, it's commercial and recreational vehicles may be parked in residentially zoned districts with the following provisions. 1, a maximum of 1 commercial and 1 recreational vehicle is allowed to be parked outside of a permitted and wholly enclosed accessory structure which meets all of the zoning, development, and building requirements of Newton County per residentially zoned lot, where these singular commercial and singular recreational vehicles can be visibly seen from any street right-of-way. Multiple recreational vehicles and multiple commercial vehicles may be parked within a permitted, approved, and wholly enclosed accessory structure, which meets all of the zoning development and building requirements for Newton County. And number 5, commercial vehicles are restricted as follows. And we have a chart here which shows type of vehicle, such as tractors, earth-moving equipment, dump trucks, heavy construction equipment, flatbed trucks, box vans, vehicles with trailers, semi-tractor cabs with or without trailers, and it's usually on a minimum lot size of 10 or more acres. It's restricted to be located with a setback of 100 feet from all property lines, and it has to meet certain screening requirements. It says to see paragraph 1 above for screening of multiple vehicles if said vehicles are visible from any public right-of-way. So it's usually a screening to keep it screened from the road. So the purpose is to allow 2 commercial dump trucks to be parked on less than 10 acres, and potential effects on the county, none if developed with staff's recommended conditions. Potential effects on the neighborhood, even if developed with staff's recommended conditions, the accessory structure and recreational vehicle may still be visible from the street. And these are the recommended conditions. Should the request be approved, staff recommends the board approve the application with the following conditions. And we do have a couple of additional recommendations than what is currently included in your packets. So I'd like to go ahead and just read those into the record. So the first recommendation from staff would be 1, park the vehicles in the rear of the yard out of view. 2, provide plantings or a fence between the vehicles and the road to help shield it from the road. Landscape plan to be approved by Development Services and maintained in perpetuity. 3, provide plantings on the northern side of the property line to 496 Smith Store Road, the neighborhood 496 Smith Store Road, where the commercial vehicle can be seen by neighboring properties to the north or from Smith Store Road. And number 4, approval is for the 2 commercial vehicles, the 2 dump trucks only. And this is an aerial view of where the property is located on Smith Store Road. It's zoned R2. Oh, sorry, AR. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the yellow. It's a green, it's zoned AR. South River Watershed is where it's located in. It is in Commissioner District 2. And this is an aerial view showing where currently the trucks are actually parked in the rear of the property. And that's an photo submitted by the applicant. And this is just ground view, street view pictures. And any questions? And I do believe the applicant is present.
Thank you, Ms. Applewhite. At this time, we're going to open it up for the applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight. You have 10 minutes to do so. Please state your name, your address for the record. Guys, please state your name, your address for the record, please. You have 10 minutes to do so. Thank you
Timothy
guys for
Bell,
being here.
520 Smith Store Road, Covington, Georgia. We're here for an appeal on the variance we got turned down for.
Guys, listen, we don't make outbursts in here. So, Mr. Buckner, we don't make outbursts in here. Thank you, Tim. Sir, if you could speak in the mic. Okay.
I'm Cheryl Bell at 520 Smith Store Road.
And we're here to appeal the variance we got denied for the first time. As we stated when we came the first time, we've been in the house almost 20 years. Never had a problem until now. And I mean, we keep our yard clean. Trucks are back behind the house. I don't see any problem with anybody. We even have a neighbor here with us, and he don't have a problem with us. I mean, he's right next door to us. So that's why we're here.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anyone else you want to speak? Go ahead.
Yes, I'll just kind of say again that we have been there since 2002. We lived in a residential area in a neighborhood inside of a subdivision, and we moved out back in 2002 because of the, the covenants. So we moved out, and we have maintained our yard. We have maintained our area, and there and I don't know, I guess I'm just baffled about the situation now. Just like my husband said, we've been there since 2002 and have parked there the entire time, with no complaints. And as we learned in the earlier meeting, that Salem Road is expanding, and you're going to always have heavy road tractors and trucks coming down that road regardless. We don't park on the road. We cause no damage to the road, and we do park in our yard. So we care about our neighborhood as well, and we care about our neighbors as well. So we have, like I said, we're just baffled at the situation as of now for the length of time we've been there with no complaints from neighbors or anything. Like I said, we don't park on the road, and we're not causing any detriment to our community or to our neighbors or our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Please state your name, your address for the record, please.
My name's Wesley Bryan. I live at 496 Mistle Road. I'm live right next door to them. Can we come down some more?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can lift that mic up. You can pull that mic up. There you go.
Anyway, I've never had any issues with them. I can vouch for them. They always keep their yards clean. The area's clean where the truck is parked. I know he takes pride in keeping his trucks well maintained so it's safe on the road. You know, as far as I've been there, never had any issues. So,
Thank you, sir.
thank
Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? That portion of the public hearing is closed. We also allow, you want to speak in favor, sir? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Greg Doss. I live on Dry Pond Road. And I guess you'd say I'm south of Smith Store Road. But to me, if the county is getting to be telling people what they can do and what they can't do, then we ought to just quit this board right here and go like Russia. Let the government tell us what to do. I don't feel like it's no right for y'all to tell these people that they can't park in their yard. And I don't even live there. That's like y'all coming to my house and telling me you can't have a dog in the yard. It's ridiculous.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to speak in favor tonight?
Thomas Buckner, 650 Fleet Drive. I don't know if you'd say this was for it or against it, but I understood last meeting, after it was over with, you and Monk was into a big argument about you putting 2 dump trucks over at your mother's house. Until all this come up, you're afraid you'd get caught. You moved them.
Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed. We're also going to allow 10 minutes for those that want to oppose tonight. Guys, I want to reaffirm you of something here tonight. This would not be a dog and pony show. I can promise you that. If you can't respect it, the commissioners are going to respect you, and you're going to respect the commissioners. If that don't happen, you're going to be escorted out. And I'm gonna give you heads up front. So the commissioner's gonna respect you, you're gonna respect the commissioner. If that don't happen, you're gonna be escorted out. All right, so we also allow 10 minutes for those that want to oppose tonight. You may come at this time, state your name and your address for the record, please.
My name is Denise Williams, 165 Long Creek Drive. I am against it because this same board right here voted to put something in place for the truck drivers to have a designated parking space. So with that being said, this same board designated places throughout Newton County to have, for them to park. So we need to abide by the county ordinance. That's what the county ordinance is for, to rules and regulations. So I'm against it. And I hope the board be in favor of what you all voted and put in place. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Thank y'all all for being here tonight. My name is Donna Lindsay, and I live at 140 Glen Isle Drive, Covington, Georgia. And I have several points to make. One is we did come up to the March 25th meeting. I absolutely have nothing negative about Mr. Bell. I appreciate very much that he's a truck driver. However, he said he left a residence where the trucks were not allowed, which would lead me to believe that before he purchased this property, he would have seen if it violated any county codes. I've lived in this area 19 years. I've always been right around the Smith Store Road, and this is a bigger issue than just his property. I reported, this committee, whatever board was in place, November of 2017, voted to allow someone to have one commercial cab only, no other commercial vehicles, and no tractor trailer on the property at Smith Store Road, at 700 Smith Store Road. I reported on March 30th that there is a dump truck on that property also. It's now May 4th, and that dump truck is still there, and that has been reported. He was cited, but yet the dump truck remains. There's been a dump truck on the subdivision on a residential house in Clearbrook, one in Whispering Pines. So this is not one lot of problem. As well as we know that there was another address on Smith Store Road that has had multiple dump trucks. So we are trying to enforce the county code that we put in place, which was that in order to have commercial vehicles, you had to have 10 acres. At the last meeting, the zoning board asked Mr. Bell if he would be willing to build a building to put them in, and he said yes, or to put them on a commercial lot, and he said yes. I think either one of those things should be viable options. If he builds a building, he does have 1.4 acres, then the dump trucks aren't visible. The problem still is in enforcing that only the vehicles that are given a variance are there. The other thing is, it's about more than just this. I have a RV, 26 feet. I never knew because that code still is not clear to me that I could not park it in my driveway. I was told Friday a week ago that I could not. I immediately moved my RV into compliance. So I'm just asking everyone to do the same thing, which is to be compliant with what the county code is. This board put in places 2 parking places where dump trucks could park, as well as I'm under the understanding that that King's Towing is allowing dump trucks to be parked there, which is only about 1 mile from where Mr. Bell lives, which is a viable option. And the other thing is I brought up last time about the business license, which says you're not supposed to be able to have employees come to your residence. And if that's the case, is there a business license in place? And if he has 2 dump trucks, is there an employee coming in and out of the business? That concludes my comments. Thank y'all.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
My name is Kerry Watson. I live at 240 Falcon Ridge Drive. I'm that big lot behind the house. Yeah, we hear the trucks start up all the time. We hear them do maintenance on the trucks and stuff like that. I have no problem with that because I'm a truck driver as well. The only thing I ask is, like she said, a structure being built or a fence or something to keep the noise down and the smells, and that's all I have to say about it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Anyone else? That portion of our public hearing is closed. Commissioner Mason, District 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are we able to actually ask any questions at this point?
Shana, can you come up, please?
Shana, I was actually looking through this case, and I even heard the applicant say as well that they had basically previously lived in a subdivision, so they moved from a subdivision to a non-subdivision location, and that they had lived or had the trucks parked there for about 19 or 20 years.
Correct.
So do we know if our current county ordinance actually addresses 19 or 20 years ago?
No. Commissioner, that's something I would have to look into. I mean, from 19 years ago, what the ordinance had said at the time. Unfortunately, I don't have that information in front of me right now, so I'd like to have some time to look that up.
Okay, so we don't know if the 19, 20 years, if the current ordinance actually is applicable to that. We don't know that. Because I know they've been there for 19, 20 years, I believe they said. So we don't know if the current ordinance will actually cover that tenure.
If the current ordinance would cover, no,
If
I'd
we
have
would
to
go
look that
back
up.
19 years.
Yeah, I would prefer to look that up, sir, before I give an answer, so I can be
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Thank you. I think that was the only question I had.
Commissioner Edwards and then Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Applewhite, my question will be for you. So, the young lady that was up here just a few minutes ago, was she cited for her RV, or was she just asked to do something else with it? Do we know?
One of the persons who was against?
Yes.
Oh, I don't have that information. No?
She said noticed only.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay. So she was served a notice only?
Oh, yes, okay, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So what would be the second step if she did not comply with the notice?
I think they are cited after that.
Would that be a
That's something-
citation? Would that be a
Yes.
code enforcement
That would be
citation?
a code enforcement, that would handle that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I'm gonna let Trace answer your question right quick,
Okay, yeah.
Commissioner.
Good evening. Yes, if the way the code enforcement violations work and complaints on commercial vehicles, when we get a complaint, they go out, they issue a notice, whether the truck be there or not. You get a 30-day notice. Then they have a right to apply within those 30 days for a variance. If they go back in 30 days, no one comes in and the truck's gone, then we consider they've moved it and the case is closed. But if they go back out again after that, there's no more notices issued, then it's citations.
Commissioner Henderson.
I guess a question that I want to ask, and it's to the lady who lived behind the property. The gentleman came up and he said that he was good with complying with it being behind some shelter, a shed of sort. And I guess, where is he at? And I guess the question I want to ask you is, do you have a shed around your truck that you drive? I mean, how does you parking in your yard? No. Okay, I got you. Okay, I got you. And one last question to you, young lady. When was the ordinance that we're talking about now? When might it be? When was it put into place? Or do you know?
Who was it, sorry, sir?
Yeah, variance. I'm sorry. Put into place for parking your trucks in your yard, whereas you probably need to do this or that.
You mean the current regulations?
Right.
That's the 2009 ordinance is the most recent one that we have, with amendments.
Okay.
2019.
So if somebody was doing it before we did that, would they be grandfathered in, or would they still have to come in, would they have to comply?
It would be on a case-by-case basis. We know we would have to examine what the factors are currently.
Okay.
And see what is applicable.
Yes, ma'am. So one last question. What was the decision of the board, planning, I guess, the zoning board?
The board of zoning, they issued a denial, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Cowan.
Thank you. This is, I guess, for Sheena and for Megan. Outside of granting a variance, he's not in compliance with the development regulations. Is that correct?
Currently, yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Isn't that correct? Yep. So, we'll let, can you ask that question one more time, Commissioner Cowan?
I said outside the granting of a variance, he is not, as it stands right now, he is not in compliance with the current development regulations. Is that correct?
And to answer your question, that they would actually, if the ordinance that was in place at the time they began to park their vehicle there, that would actually be the ordinance that governed whether it was a legal non-conforming or, so what, if they've been there for 19 years, we actually need to look at the ordinance from 19 years ago that was in place to see if commercial vehicles were regulated. If it was not, if they were regulated, then the variance would need to, or the appeal would need to go forward, because without the relief from the ordinance, it would be out of compliance. However, if the ordinance did not address the parking of vehicles, and they are able to prove that they actually parked them, which was what Shana was referring to, factors that we have to have for evidence. If we were able to confirm they have been parking there for the 19 years straight, and that there was no ordinance in place that regulated parking, then actually this could be considered legal non-conforming as long as they did not remove the use for greater than 1 year from the property.
Okay, so based on that, you've got to go back and do some research to see if there is a ordinance from 19 years ago that regulates commercial vehicles.
Yes, sir. That would actually fall under the 1999 ordinance. We adopted an ordinance in 1999, well, 71 and subsequent, but we adopted one in 99. So they would be under the 99 ordinance because they moved before the 2003 adoption. So we would, yes, sir, we would need to go back and look at the 1999 ordinance.
So in fairness, in this situation, we need to table this, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that would be.
Megan?
Yep.
That's my recommendation as well.
Okay.
Commissioner Sanders.
I had the opportunity to attend the planning meeting. Of course, I couldn't say anything, but I had a lot of the constituents from Commissioner Mason's area call me as well. And so I do remember the chairman of that board said that other properties right next to it have had notices. So is that correct? Because I remember hearing him saying that they also have had notices that were actually put in front of their homes in regards to their vehicles. I remember the chairman of the zoning board mentioning that.
Yes, Chairman Hathorn was speaking in reference to, as one of the members of the opposition stated, they had filed several active code complaints in regards to parking of commercial vehicles. Chairman Hathorn did remember two variances that was granted on Smith Store Road for commercial vehicles. I believe those were actually like a semi-cab. It's still similar, same type of commercial vehicle as far as weight and how we regulate it. But yes, there were other variants that have been granted on Smith Store Road.
No, not granted. I mean, notices of other actual dump trucks or whatever have parked in that area. He mentioned that, so he was stating that those that live in that area should be aware of the variance or the county that's put in place. He said that there were other individuals in that area that have had notices and signs placed in their yard.
Yes, ma'am, he
Okay.
did mention that,
I do
yes, he
remember that.
believed that there was notices out there. Yes, ma'am.
So my other question, I guess, would be to Shayna. What was the reason why the board denied it? What was some of the, I don't know if you have it, it probably was a lot of information, but what was some of the things that the citizens, because I definitely want to hear what the citizens say, because that zoning board is made up of citizens that we all appoint.
Some of the concerns that the citizens present had raised were things like traffic and, having the trucks there in their community. And that is why we added additional recommendations to address those, to have additional screenings, with plantings as well as fences. So those are some of the issues that they had raised, and some that were raised today as well, with engines and so on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So with that being said, what I'd like to do is actually make a motion to table the appeal case number APP 21-000001 until further research.
Do you want to bring it back up March 18th?
March 18th, yes.
I mean, May 18th.
May 18th, I'm sorry, yes.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason that we table this until the May 18th board meeting, and it's second by Commissioner Edwards. Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It's tabled until May 18th. Thank you so much. I'm going to go back now to finish up the chairman's report real quickly here. We had an opportunity to declare Kidspreneur Day on April the 29th. Mr. Jabez and Christopher Jenkins, there's some great young men who are doing great things in our community. They're leading the way. They're doing great things, and we're so proud of them. We want to get behind them young men and push them forward. They're doing amazing things. Also, the month of April was Child Abuse Awareness Month. We want to make sure that we do everything in our will to inform the community about child abuse, sexual abuse. There's so many kids that go through that situation in DFACS, And guys, as parents and adults, please, ma'am, please, sir, if you can bring awareness in this, help bring awareness in this community, please do so. And also Washington Street Community Center, they was fortunate enough to receive a blessing from rapper Lil Durk. He gave out laptops to all the kids at Washington Street Community Center. I was over there to celebrate with them. Ms. B. Jackson, she does an excellent job over there at Washington Street Community Center. They're doing great things for our youth in this community as well. Bicentennial also. Yeah, we are still celebrating, and thank Dave Belton, State Representative Dave Belton, for being here tonight. We're still celebrating our bicentennial. We did another movie. It was a great turnout. We had a lot of kids came out, and you can see the kids running around playing. It was a great night to be out at Legion Field. I think that's everything. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just got a few slides here. The first one is a picture of our groundbreaking ceremony out at Fire Station 4. And for those of you who are not familiar with the location, this is on Highway 213, just west of the intersection of County Road 213 and Dixie Road. We had a great turnout, and looking forward to that completion and the manning of that station. Next, we have a few pictures of the community cleanup that was conducted in District 3 by Commissioner Sanders and some people who were in her district there that cleaned up, and you can see there at the Kroger on Salem Road quite a few tires and things. This is just part of the bicentennial cleanups that are being undertaken in each of our districts. Next is wanted to let everybody know about the splash pad ribbon cutting ceremony that we're going to have on May 29th at 9 o'clock. And, oh, I'm sorry, May 20th. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong side. Got a typo up there, but but it is May 20th. Sorry, folks. And that is actually, oh, I'm sorry, it's open to the public on Saturday, May 29th. Thank you. I apologize, folks. Yes. Been a long day. The tentative dates and times there, the days of when it will be open and in operation are there. We have to finalize those and some other details, but that's what it is tentatively scheduled for now. But the ribbon cutting will be on the 20th at 2 o'clock, and we'd like to have everybody out there that wants to come see it. And I think this has been a good and will turn out to be a great project for the county. Next slide is our COVID snapshot. You can see that our cases have gone up in the last 14 days. It looks like we have had an increase, but you can see the total number of cases. We do have a vaccine site on here in our county now, a mass vaccine site, and this is over at the Georgia Piedmont College, and we will be in operation there. They're in operation Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I believe, at certain times, and so you can make an appointment there to get your vaccines. And also, if you would like to have a mobile team come to any large group or organization, if you'll contact Dr. Audrey Arona at Gwinnett Newton Rockdale Health, which is the health department that we're a part of, they can help to set that up. But there's plenty of vaccines available, and it's set up, the site is set up very well with very little waiting. So we encourage everybody to get vaccinated and to continue to try to stay safe in the county. And so with that, that is all I have tonight, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to make sure that everyone is aware that you can walk up and get tested. You do not need an appointment anymore. Please, ma'am, please share. We want to encourage people in the community to encourage other people to get their shots. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess, we have two questions. First, I guess, on the splash pad or doing the shots over at Piedmont. We'll go at Piedmont first. Lord, do you know, I think it was reported on the news that we were at the bottom as far as putting shots into people's arms here in Newton. So have we moved up? I know they did, like what you said, just come on in, what Chairman said, just go in and take your shot. So have they moved up from the 16th? I'm a 16 in the state.
To be honest, Commissioner, I don't know. I know that we have increased over the last couple of weeks, and I believe the statistic was 15% over the prior period.
Right.
That's the number of cases reported, hospitalizations, and total death, and the number of total deaths. So we're still kind of seesawing here. But the health department, I know, anticipates that as we get more people vaccinated, that the number of cases obviously is going to go down.
We're praying and we're hoping that
Right.
that is the case. And if anybody need a ride, I mean, hey, I'll take them.
Yeah.
And the second question is about the splash pad over in District 2. When we were first talking about it, it may have been a little bit before Commissioner DeMond came aboard. You correct me if I'm wrong. And there was supposed to be a fee, not at the beginning, that recreation will work in a fee of $2 or $3 for each child. Is it still in effect or is it just open?
That's actually one of the things that I'm going to discuss with our recreation director tomorrow, fees and all of that information, number of kids that could be allowed at a time in there. And, you know, some of the logistics of that are a little tricky, and so we want to make sure we have all of that ironed out before we hit that opening date, because the pad is built for about 40 to 50 kids to be in there at one time. So we need to discuss how we're going to address, is there going to be a time period, what is that time period going to be, and then how would we move kids, in and out, or people, whoever, parents, whatever.
Right.
And so that we try to and have some kind of fairness about it, because you don't want to have kids show up at 8 o'clock, or when we open at 10 o'clock, and they're there all day and nobody else gets an opportunity to use it.
And my last comment, if I may, last comment is that there should be no fee for the kids to go in. I think with the additional $2 million that we talked about today, that at least for 2 or 3 years, it could be subsidized and make it free to the kids. You just figure out how many you want to go in at a time. It's going to be summertime, they're going to be hot. He'd rather for the kids in Newton County to go to that splash pad and then go down there to the river and get drowned. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to kind of touch on what Commissioner Henderson was saying. We did talk about this first summer, definitely, like you said, subsidizing it this year because it is just opening. But I'm definitely open to having further discussion on basically having it a little bit longer. But we definitely did, just so that you know, we did plan on doing that for the first summer. So it would be this year. We definitely are not planning on charging anybody for it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Kerr.
I was just saying, I knew that the commissioner had some discussion, about it. My concern was just some of the logistics surrounding all of that, making sure that we don't exclude anybody and all of those things. So, but in any event, I'm actually meeting with Dwayne, I believe tomorrow or Friday, to discuss it. So.
Thank you, sir. You don't have anything else?
I'm sorry. No, sir. I'm sorry. That's all I had.
Thank you. Guys, next on the agenda is consent agenda. I seek a motion of approval, please. sorry.
I just had a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Consent agenda. Did we take off about the apartments?
Yes.
Where do you move it to? I mean, I'm asking. 'Cause I'm
It's
trying
not
to-
on the agenda tonight.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I seek a motion of approval, please. So moved. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. I do see there's a, appointment for Mr. Roy, former, is that you, Mr.? You wanna, is he here tonight? Sir, thank you for your willingness. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Parham, a short story. I saw Mr. Parham a few months back, and he said he stepped up and he said, if you have any need for any type service from me, you just let me know. Serve our community. And it wasn't too long after that this appointment was brought to my attention, and Mr. Parham immediately came to mind, and I asked him about it, and he willingly accepted. So I thank you, Mr. Parham, for stepping up to serve your community. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Thank you. Next on the agenda is item 10. County manager seeking approval of staff service and agreement with Wagner's Service Solution for Newton EMA vaccination project. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The mass vaccination center that we just talked about a couple of minutes ago is being done in a partnership in conjunction with GPTC and with the Gwinnett Newton Rockdale Health Department. Part of what we agreed to do was to provide some staffing for the vaccination centers, primarily staffed by the health department personnel, but they did need some other personnel as well to help make sure that they were able to maintain the site and to have enough licensed and clinical people on staff. So this agreement, you'll see on page 2 of the agreement, has the different positions that we would be needing to help man that site, and then the billable rate for each hour of the various types of professionals. All of the funding for this will be reimbursed to the county from a FEMA grant that you all had approved for the EMA department to apply for about a month ago. So any expenses that are going to be incurred will be reimbursed to the county.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner, I seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheriff, next is item number 11. Sheriff Office seeking approval to award RFB 21-18 9 charges to Ginn Motors. Mr. Kerr.
Mr. Chairman, this is a request to purchase the 9 of the Chargers. Total cost is $233,163, and the funding for that will be coming from 2017 SPLOST, the capital improvements, and then the Sheriff's Department General Fund. And the Sheriff is here tonight, and in the event you have any further questions regarding
Thank you.
that, he may be able to answer for you.
Thank you. Guys, y'all have any questions? I seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Mason. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Sheriff Office seeking approval of Amendment 3, the Burnsley construction, an amount of $97,316. Funding source, SPLOST contingency fund. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to ask our project manager, Jeff Prine, to come up to explain what this amendment is all about. And I'd also like to address, there's a typo here. There is no SPLOST contingency fund. This does come out of our SPLOST dollars. So just a little bit of a typo there.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing, sir?
Just fine, sir. Good evening. If you haven't had a chance to get out and see the expansion and the improvements that we've done on that campus, it's just spectacular. Once we finished the expansion, we looked at the campus. We had done some various expansions of parking areas and made improvements up and around the building. And you could see that there was kind of a hodgepodge. So this part of this money is to go back in and to reseal all of the asphalt so it all looks like the same. We basically put in some rock on the slopes so that it would be low maintenance. We also did a few more improvements inside the facility that were assisting in security, as far as making a secure facility between the administrative side and the detention side. And there was also an opportunity to do some additional maintenance, deferred maintenance on repainting some canopies and things like that. They were all kind of part of that front portion of the building itself. And just to kind of build off what county manager said, what it should have said is coming out of the project contingency funds, which are SPLOST funds.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please.
Thanks, Jeff.
It's been motioned, who second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. County manager, discussion and consideration for funding for Juneteenth festival. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Some of the commissioners were contacted, I believe, by the Newton County African American Historical Society. I believe that's who did the initial contact about helping to sponsor the Juneteenth festival that the organization wanted to put on. My understanding is that it would include a parade and would also include some activities over at Legion Field. The city has, they also approached the city about some assistance. The city said that essentially has said that if the county will sponsor the event at Legion Field, then they would waive the fees for Legion Field. If there was to be a parade, then they would have to get their, they would rely on the county to pay the permit fees for the parade and whatever those hard costs are, that they could not waive those fees. So as to what that dollar amount is, I talked with the city manager over there, and I also talked with Trey over at the Welcome Center. He estimated the cost, what we're looking at is somewhere in the $1,000 range, plus or minus. Depends on what the route of the parade is and how long they have to block off streets and how many police officers that they would need to use, and whatever their overtime rate is, for a minimum of 4 hours. So we'd have to do some calculations. But he seemed to think that somewhere in that $1,000 range. There are a couple of things I think that the board should consider before making a decision on this. One is that if you decide to sponsor this event, or if you decide to participate by paying for the permits, then I think you would also need to to be aware that then this would open up the board for any organization that would want to do a similar type activity, that would come to you and ask for the same type of consideration. Whether that would be an organization that, you know, you agree with or not, or whether whether it's for some religious festival or whether it would be for whatever. I mean, there's a million things. You know, there's all kind of organizations out there, whether it's a car organization or whoever. So it would set up you would be setting somewhat of a precedent there in terms of spending, you know, the public dollar. So I think that's a consideration. The other consideration is that if we do sponsor the event, or if we wind up being the sponsor for any event over at the Legion Field, then we would be responsible for all of the cleanup and anything that needs to be done after the event was over. So I put that out there, you know, for y'all's consideration, and so it's in whatever discussion that you all would have on it.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sanders.
I just want to make note that Juneteenth is a federal holiday, so it'd be different from any other various organization. It's a federal holiday, and it also was adopted as Georgia adopted as the 37th state to recognize it also as a holiday, and Fulton County has made it a paid holiday. So that would be a difference from actually another organization actually coming about because of the organization is a federal holiday. So I just want to put that on record so everybody know it has been approved by the United States government as a holiday.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, I think Martin Luther King, MLK, is a federal holiday. And I don't know, are we still paying for that too as well? Paying money for that? Martin Luther King holiday, the one we celebrate over at
The county offices are closed on Martin Luther King holiday.
I understand that. That's about, do we still, because the county was the one, if my memory serves me right, I wasn't on the board, but I paid attention. The county was the one, this county, Newton County, started that holiday, and I think paid for it, if my memory serves me right, from what I think you probably talked to Reverend Harold Pop and get more information on it. But we started the King holiday here, and we closed. And so I guess I can't see the difference between Juneteenth Day, which is a federal holiday. We're already paying our employees for that day. He just doesn't have a name. And I think a year ago, we asked that it be named Juneteenth Day. And so I'm still asking, so I would like to either vote it back up or vote it down.
And please don't read me wrong. I have no opposition to any of this. I mean, I think it's obviously a recognized day. The only thing here is the monetary support of an organization that would like to put on an event. And I think where we run into a little issue is what other organization may come to you and say, we would like for you to do this. And I only bring that up for your consideration. But I have no objection to being a part of the celebration or any of that. So, but I just felt like I needed to mention that to you because there's folks out there that would.
Right. And I think we should look at them case by case basis as this board. But I think, it's something that at least the people that I know, they want it to be recognized by the county as a holiday, not just one holiday from this point on. And I don't see a reason why we shouldn't recognize it. And just let me say this, and this is me talking, J.C. Henderson. If we could spend $237,000 trying to put me in jail, and I know I wasn't going nowhere, and surely we can pay $1,000 or $2,000, and be through with it. Thank you.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do believe that Juneteenth is a very, very important holiday, and it should definitely be recognized. I did have a conversation. I know we had talked about possibly partnering with the city of Covington in regards to this. I did speak to one of their council members. Their council member stated that they will not be funding or providing any monies at all for this particular festival. But what they will be doing, like they do with all nonprofit organizations, is that they actually provide them with a discount at Legion Field. So I know they did state that they are not going to be providing any funding at all for this festival, but they will, if they want to have the parade or the festival or the event at Legion Field, what they will do is they will provide them with a discount. And so that's kind of how they rectified that particular matter, because they didn't want to open the door for other organizations to come in and ask for monetary sponsorships that wasn't in alignment with what the city of Covington's vision was. So I just wanted to put that out there as well, that the city of Covington will not be providing any financial donations, but they are going to give a discount at Legion Field. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Sanders.
I think I watched that city council meeting. They actually tabled it, so they didn't finalize anything with that yet. So the council tabled that, so it hasn't gone back to the council for us to even give a final answer on it.
Right, I did as well, but I did speak to them today, along with their city manager. And basically what they're going to do is when they come back and bring it before that board, that's going to be a discussion. So they're already making a decision that they're not going to fund at all.
So they made a decision before they even had a meeting, before the citizens?
Yes, they are. So I'm sure they're going to discuss it when they get there.
I just want to reiterate what you just said. So they made a decision before they had a meeting discussing with the citizens.
So hold up. So hold up. So, Commissioner Sanders, you have anything else?
I am aware that based on what Lord said, they were looking to get Legion Field to be, as far as not just a percentage, to take care of a portion. So in actuality, it is a financial, because if you're giving them the actual property, you're writing it off as a tax write-off. So it is. So this actual event has been put on for 5 years. This is not their first time doing it. They've been doing this for 5 years for Newton County, and all of us have participated in it and had pictures taken that we were a part of it. So as the county, I do agree that we should support this event because it's representing majority of the people. If we look at the makeup of Newton County, there's various events. We support Bicentennial, we support various things. I think that we also support everyone within this county and what this county make up. Newton County is starting to be a melting pot. So we need to make sure that we're supporting everybody in this county. And because this event has been put on for 5 years and elected officials have been a part of that parade and been in the parade taking pictures, we need to be supportive of it.
Commissioner Mason.
I just want to add to that. I don't want it to be misconstrued that I think we should not support it. But I think the word support can be defined in several different ways, not only from a financial perspective. So you can support something. You can support it by being in attendance. You can support it personally. If I decided that I wanted to give as a private citizen, if I wanted to give funds or donate funds to this event, which more than likely I will, as a private citizen, I can do that. But I think what we're trying to the objective the point that we're trying to get across is, it's not that we don't want to support, or I don't think that this board should support Juneteenth. I think that when we do give monies to specific organizations, what it does, it opens up the door for us to have to, when they come before us, if we say, well, yes, we're going to give monies to the Juneteenth Festival, if someone that comes before us and requests other monies, then do we just say no? Or do we have to say yes because we've already given to another organization? So I think, I don't want, you can kind of get into the mud with that, but that's the point that I'm trying to put across. Thank you.
Sir. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. So, and this is the Lord, if I may. How much money are we talking about?
The amount that was relayed to me was somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,000. Now, it could be a little bit more once we get all the details. It could be a little bit less, but he thought somewhere, the standard parade permit is $1,000. So,
I'm sorry, I've been cutting this thing off. But let me say this. I mean, I think we're having too much debate about a little parade. Oh, hey, you want to volunteer? Commissioner Cal, you write a check about $3,000?
Hey, come on, guys. Hey.
But I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, forgive me, please. But just let me say, I think we having a debate over pennies for this county. And if anybody want to come up and ask for $1,000, I think we should listen to them and say, well, yay or nay. So can I make a motion to move forward or die? I mean, okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we fund the $1,000 for Juneteenth Day and to recognize Juneteenth Day as a county holiday.
for
Yeah.
for
So, Commissioner, can you restate your motion to the funding?
Yeah,
That's on the agenda, please.
Just the funding first, and then we can't put the holiday to as well?
The
Yeah.
discussion item doesn't, it just is a funding item, so if you get your motion on the floor for the funding for the $1,000, that would be fine. If you're looking to change or amend the agenda to have us discuss making it a holiday, we would need to amend the agenda with the chairman's approval to include a second vote item.
Yeah. Yeah. So I redo my motion. I'd like to make a motion for the Board of Commission to fund Juneteenth Day. And I would like to make it $1,500 in case it be a little something extra. $1,500 to fund that parade or whatever they're doing.
Is there a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Sanders. Any more discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, if this motion were to pass, do we have to designate that 1,500 to a 501(c), or can the county just go along in using the $1,500 to celebrate?
If you're making the donation or the funding help for this, I would recommend that we see that it is a 501(c)(3) like all of our other external appropriations. And I can, with the name of the organization, I can pull that up rather quickly.
No. Commissioner Edwards.
And my next question is, so I heard Commissioner Henderson say this, making this a holiday. So this is not, this is a paid holiday. It's just not a designated paid holiday. Is that correct?
We voted last year to make this a paid holiday for employees. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, what Commissioner Henderson is seeking is a proclamation that Newton County observes Juneteenth. Not just our employees get the day off, but for the county to recognize this as a holiday through a proclamation or otherwise. Is that okay?
I got you. Thank you.
Mr. Kerr?
I just wanted to make the distinction that we do not close the offices on Juneteenth. Now, if that's what we have provided an extra personal holiday for those, what we actually did was extra personal holiday for those people who wanted to take that day off to celebrate June 10th. If they did not want to take that day off, then that could be used as a personal holiday for whatever purpose for the employees. Now, but we don't close the offices on June 19th. So if it's to be recognized an official holiday, then I would assume that would mean we would be closing the county offices on that day.
Thank you. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to bring clarity to the previous discussion. I'm not saying that the city council made an actual decision prior to that. What they did in the previous meeting that they had publicly, they were not discussing funding in that particular meeting that they tabled. So I just want to clarify, it was never before the city council to actually provide funding. So the meeting that was tabled was not to fund it. They were just saying what they can do to help this particular festival go forth, and that was basically to provide a discount at Legion Field. So I just wanted to get clarification of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion? There's a motion on the floor. Commissioner Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lloyd, I understand your concern about other entities asking for money. Can we go ahead and put this into a policy and just say that we not do anything over $1,500, but let that kind of be your floor? As long as it's a viable 501c3.
Well, I think the board, obviously, whatever your prerogative is on it.
Well, I'm just thinking, just so that we don't have to have these discussions all the time, if somebody came to you and said, hey, can you provide us some money? You just say, well, we got a standard amount, it's $1,500. They say, well, we want 10,000, but you ain't gonna get that.
But the question is, regardless of the organization, that's where, regardless of the organization, you would be willing to give them $1,500.
Yeah, I think in fairness, I think you've got to set a policy out there for how you want to handle these things in the future. I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, well, my concern is if we provide for one organization, we're going to have to provide for all. And the other part of my concern is, I know there's organizations out there that are not very popular, and don't really reflect, a lot of what people think. It reflects, obviously, some folks' set of mores and values, but not everybody. So, and I don't feel qualified to make that decision.
So you feel better to just bring everyone up here? Okay.
Well, either that or just give me a blanket.
Okay.
I do not want to have to make the decision of whether some motorcycle gang can get $1,500 or whether the Baptist church can get a Baptist church can get $1,500. So if it's a blanket, give everybody $1,500 who requests it. That's fine with me. Otherwise, I would want them to come before the board.
Okay.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. I think that's the reason why we are elected here. I think that's the reason why you have 5 commissioners sitting around this horseshoe in order to make those decisions. And, in mercy, sometimes as we get on a tangent like about this, keep all this discussion, it should come before us, because it may be some that we may not want to fund. And let's be real. Each time people take to court, $1,500. I have people that took me in court about $200. But but make a long story short, this part of this job, while we're sitting here, is to make those type decisions. Now, what we were talking about a little before we got on this tangent about the $1,500 was about the day, the Robin Juneteenth Day, a paid holiday. So what do somebody?
We got a motion on the floor to get this approved, $1,500, or not approved, whichever way you vote. It's been a motion by, first of all, any more discussion? It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Sanders. All in favor? All opposed? It passes 5-0. Thank you.
Parliamentary procedure-wise, you would request the chairman to allow amendment of the agenda to include discussion of proclamation of June 13th as a county holiday throughout the county. Yeah, you'll need a motion.
Mr. Chair, can I, at this time, may I?
You can.
I'd like to make that informal motion as per the county attorney, which he has stated.
So we will need now to vote on the amendment of the agenda after the second.
It's been motioned that we amend the agenda to allow Juneteenth to become a holiday. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Sanders.
And this is still just amending the agenda.
Yes.
This is not the substantive vote.
Any discussion? All in favor? We're gonna make that item, well, we'll do it now. We're gonna make that 13A.
At this juncture, we would need how we want the item to read, so discussion, consideration of county official recognition of June 13th holiday. June 13th, yeah. Juneteenth, you say June and then you put teenth on the end.
Is it 19th? Isn't it 19th? Okay.
Juneteenth is what I'm trying to say. It's just not coming out well.
I thought you had said 13th. I just want to make sure we're clear on the date. So we don't.
So now that the item has been added to the agenda, it would be 13A. That would be the current item up for discussion and consideration.
Commissioner Henderson? I think you don't have discussion if you want to make a motion. If you want
Thank
to.
you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, just let me say this. This is something that we've been discussing. I think we discussed it last year, if I'm not mistaken. And at that particular time, what the board decided was that we just, it'd be like a blanket day off. I think you would get paid for that holiday or holiday. It just didn't have a name on it. Am I correct? So my motion is to name that day Juneteenth holiday. Just give it a name. Still the same, but give it that name. I make that in form of motion.
So we'll leave everything the same, but name it Juneteenth. Okay? Can I? A second? Okay. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Sanders. That's right? Okay. Any discussion? Mr. Kerr?
I just want to make sure we're clear that I'm clear on this, that this will be a holiday that's added to our holiday schedule, and the county offices would be closed on that day. Is that correct? No.
No. He wanted outlined that
Okay.
this is a recognition of Juneteenth. So if someone decides they want to take off that, they taking off for Juneteenth. Is that
Okay.
correct, Commissioner?
That's fine.
Yep.
Okay, I got it. Thank you very much.
Yep. Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Passes 5-0. Next is item number 15, Public Works, seeking approval to purchase right-of-way and easement for Yellow River Bridge replacement project on Brown Bridge Road, parcel 2 and 5, cost $45,720. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to ask our traffic engineer, Chester Clegg, to come up to speak about this item, and there's several other items following on the agenda that he's going to address as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chester, for being here.
We are still acquiring properties to complete the to start construction on the Yellow River Bridge project, replacement project, and we have 2 more parcels left. parcel number 2 and parcel number 5. And there's, in the packet, there's a map showing what parcels and what easement and right-of-way we're requesting that the board approve for acquisition. The total is $45,000 between the two, and these are the last two for the project, so it's pretty exciting to get finished with this, and we'll get started with construction shortly.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please. Chester, what district is that?
I'm sorry, sir?
What district is that?
This is in,
3 and 4?
District 3, and I think it's partly in District 4.
Okay, I seek a motion. Commissioner Sanders?
I seek a motion that we approve the purchase right-of-way of the easement for Yellow River Bridge Replacement Project on Brown Bridge Road, parcel number 2 and number 5.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Thank you. Chester, you next.
Yes, sir. The item number 16 is I'm requesting approval to proceed with a new project. This is a realignment project at Moat Road and 162. And let me just go through a few items here. This will be a new project, and I've been looking at the intersection. Actually, we've been looking at it for quite a while. Between 2013 and 2019, there were 28 recorded crashes, and 2 different crashes, there were fatalities. So it is a dangerous intersection. Moat Road intersects 162 at a pretty bad skew, and it's at about a 12% grade. So I'd encourage each of you to, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, just drive up to the stop sign on Moat Road, and then at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and try to turn left, and it's quite a feat. So it's pretty dangerous. And then the construction preliminary estimate's about $2 million. All that I'm asking tonight is that the board approve the project, for me to move forward with the project. I will come back to the board to get approval of engineering once we get a proposal in that's acceptable, and then I'll come back to the board for approval of construction. So there's no money involved really with what I'm requesting tonight.
I seek a motion, please, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Mason.
I'd actually like to make a motion that we approve to proceed with the realignment project at Moat Road and State Route 162.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Chester, next one is yours as well.
The next item is I'd like to discuss. It's item number 17. We're proceeding with the project realignment bypass at Crowell Road and I-20. We've been working on this project, started it back in 2014. We're about to go to construction, but we've got to acquire the right-of-way first. In order for the county to acquire the right-of-way, like we've done on our other projects, we have to sign a contract with GDOT in order to get the money. And they are giving us, ARC gave us a $1.88 million to acquire the right-of-way. And so we have to sign the chairman has to sign the contract to accept the money.
I think that's District 3. Commissioner Sanders.
I seek a motion to approve the authorized contract for the right-of-way acquisition contract with GDOT for the access road bypass at Crowell Road and I-20, and to allow the chairman to execute the contract.
Can I get a second? Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next is item number 18, public, no? Okay, yeah. Public Works. Public Works seeking approval of the contract amendment for Sunbelt Builders for the FFA Security Entry Funding Source Fund 271 bond. Jeff Prime.
Yes, sir. You may remember this was a contract that was entered between the county and the FFA, FCCLA camp, where we're doing a joint project through the Public Works Department, but all the project funding is being reimbursed back to the county. This amendment were for some additional work that was required to modify the building and the site. It also included adding a flagpole in the roundabout that is at the entrance of the facility itself, just kind of dressing it up for that area. But once again, this amendment and all funding for this project is reimbursed back to the county by FFA.
Thank you, sir. I'll seek a motion. I think this is in District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of contract amendment for Sunbelt Builders FFA security entry. Funding source, Fund 271, and I might add, all reimbursable. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let me get Lloyd before we move forward.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we, for the record, it would actually be Fund 301, and there is no bond. This actually is a typo on here, so I want to make sure we're correct on that, because the funding source would be Fund 301, which is the Public Works, and again, there is no bond connected with this, but it's all reimbursable.
Okay.
You want me to restate it?
Yeah, please,
Okay.
restate that, please.
Motion to approval of contract amendment for Sunbelt Builders of FFA security entry, funding source, the 301 fund, and 100% reimbursable.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
It's been motion by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next is Public Works seeking approval to authorize the chairman to execute a contract between Newton County and Pittman Construction Company for the completion of proposed 2021 resurfacing project. Mr. Kurt Chesterman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We received sealed bids on the resurfacing project, and Pittman Construction was the lowest responsible bidder at $1.787 million. The resurfacing project consists of resurfacing Flat Shoals Road, Lower River Road, a small section of Deering Road right at the intersection of the Covington Bypass and Deering, where it's falling apart, and then Coral Road from Porterdale city limits to Brown Bridge Road, and then Gum Creek Road up to 138, from Dial Mill Road to 138. And the second lowest bid was $2.67 million. So we got a really good deal. It was a couple $100,000 less than what we'd estimated, and Pittman left a lot of money on the table. So this was, I think you can feel good about the bid.
Thank you. I'll seek a motion, please. Thank you, sir. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hey, Chester, thank you. So, they were so much lower. You think that's economies of scale at work? Is that what you think that is? I mean, they just outfits the size and they're big enough they can do something like this. And
I think for whatever reason, we hit the timing just right, and they didn't have a lot of work. And the type of work, you got to keep the plant going, and you got to keep the guys working in that type of business, even if you're not making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And but you're right. That's a huge difference in the two. We only got 2 bids, but I feel like the one we got, the low one, was really good. I don't expect to get a bid next time, but yeah, I think it was because of the timing.
And the second part of my question is, Lloyd, this is as always within the guidelines of the county's purchasing policy, correct? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, correct.
Anyone else? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Next, county manager discussion, consideration of a prime tower lease with Newton County Water and Sewer Authority for 911 project. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On your desk there, you'll see two lease agreements. One is for the prime site, which is the Highway 36 land application site, and there's a tower located there that belongs to the Water and Sewer Authority, and then and that's the first one there. We're going to be locating some antenna array and some communications equipment at that tower, on that tower, and this agreement is to allow us to do that. And there is no charge for this since it's being used for public safety. Water and Sewer Authority is not charging us for any lease payments.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please. There's a motion by Commissioner Elkins, second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. This is another tower? Yes, sir. Mr. Kerr, consideration of WASP Tower, lease agreement with Newton County Water and Sewer Authority for E911 project.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This also is a lease agreement with the Water and Sewer Authority for equipment and for communications equipment and an antenna array to actually be located on a water tower site, and that one is located down Highway 835 South Highway 162. And again, since this is being used for our 911 communication and public safety, there is no lease fee. There are no lease fees involved in this lease agreement.
Seek a motion, please. Been motion by Commissioner Edwards. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next is citizen comment. This is an opportunity that we allow citizens to make comments. You may comment this time. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Shirley Palmer Brown. Good evening to everyone. I live at 485 Wisteria Boulevard in Covington, and I'm here today to talk about the widening of, the possibility of widening the road at Brown Bridge and to create a turn lane, because we've had about 3 accidents at that intersection. Right now, if you pass by, you'll see where the wall was damaged. We haven't been able to get the wall repaired because of insurance issues. So as citizens, we're having to put money together to repair this wall. But we've had 3 accidents there, like I said. Lived there since 2002, and I've heard we're gonna widen the road. And I don't know if this 2021 resurfacing includes that portion of Brown Bridge, but if it's not, then I'm asking that we do consider doing something there. Either put a filter light, or it is dangerous. It's not safe. It takes about 15 minutes or more to get out of the subdivision at times, and it causes too much congestion. So that's my comment.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Charles Johnson, 1020 Lower River Road. I have 2 questions. Is the board making applications, anything for the COVID stimulus package? toward the communities, that has been slighted. I know that, excuse me, I know that, I know that there's programs that is set up for the elected neighborhoods. And the other question is, what is with the park?
Thank you. He gonna speak with you after the meeting, or in his commissioner comments. He'll make comments shortly. Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Kathy Morgan, 11105 Highway 278, Covington, Georgia. I just want to thank this board for the work that you've done. And on behalf of the Joint Development Authority at Stanton Springs, continuing Davis's vision. 25 years ago, Davis woke me up and he said, I've got an idea. And he says, we're going to put a technology park or a bioscience park on the 1,600 acres at Exit 101 in Newton County between Morgan, Walton, Newton, and Jasper County. And the reason he included Jasper County was they have absolutely nothing over there. Now, to give you context of what this meant, this was about 1995, Newton County had about 50,000 people in Newton County, and I would say 85% of us were agricultural farmers. So there was no income for this community to pay for its services. And he realized that we needed two things in Newton County. One was income, and the second was jobs. And the jobs that were here were low-income, low-paying jobs. And even in our own families, we were seeing where our family could not move back to Newton County after they graduated from school to work and to survive and to raise their families. And so that's what generated this idea. And that's what worked this. But it was not an easy task. He researched it for 2 to 3 years on how did you create a joint development authority, how did you create and how did you recruit businesses for a technology park, and how was he going to pay for it? Because Newton County was very poor at that time. And his idea was, I'm going to go talk to the 4 counties, and we're going to split the cost. And we're going to share this burden, and it will benefit all of us. Well, it took us a long time. We put it in place. JC was here from the beginning. JC has been here with a lot of decisions that have been made, and he's continued to support us. But it took until 2012 before we were able to recruit the type of business that was intended to go in that park. And we recruited Baxter. And I was chairman, and the board that I sat on and led that recruitment. But as we moved forward, we realized the deal we made was not that great. It was a good deal, but not a great deal, because we were inexperienced, and the economic development team that we worked with at that time was inexperienced. And so we moved on, though, because it was a $1 billion company making an investment in Newton County, Georgia. And so we moved forward with that. And as we continued going forward with this, the Economic Development Office began to grow, and we changed, and we brought in experienced people in that office, and people that knew about creating industry, people that had experience with recruiting businesses, and people that knew and understood our county and understood what it takes to make the holistic program work. I know, and I'm going to go over the time, and you just have to permit me. I'm sorry, Marcelo. But what I want to say to that is we grew, and we almost lost the JDA. The JDA almost gave up about 5 years ago and wanted to develop it, to change it from a technology bioscience center
So I tell you what I'm gonna do.
to a recreation, well, to residential property. I'm going to talk anyway.
No, I got you. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you my time at the end, so you can speak in my time.
Well, let me finish this and I'll be through. I promise you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. But as we move forward, they recruited other industries. And we are now faced with a park that has over $90 billion of investment in Newton County, Georgia.
That's awesome.
And the jobs there are tremendous. Now, who do we give credit to this for? We give credit to that board in 1998. We give credit to the boards in 4 counties in 1998. And 4 counties for every board since then that has stayed strong and kept their eye on the prize and the goal. And we've done that. But I would be remiss to tell y'all, every one of you should look at Marcelo and tell him thank you. He has fought for Newton County. He has been beaten down by that board because he did what was right for this community. And he stuck his neck out time and time again. And we owe him a great debt of gratitude. I mean, I love hearing how wonderful Davis was. You know, that is the greatest thing for a widow to hear about her husband. But somebody had to continue carrying that load. And Marcelo has done it and fought for Newton County over and over again. And they were successful in bringing back all the money that Newton County has invested into that park. And I also want to tell y'all that you also need to thank God for Sarah Hall, because she renegotiated the deal with Baxter, which is now Takeda, and she made that good deal. We struck a great deal, and Newton County is getting a bigger return. And she negotiated the deals for the other 2 parcels that were sold in there. And she continues to serve Newton County as if it were her own individual property. She loves this county and she works with us, but not just because she loves this county. She's a professional and she is respected among her peers, and people call her from advice from all over the United States because of what she's achieved here in Newton County, Georgia. So I want to thank you.
Madam Chairman.
I want to thank you, and I'm going to say good night.
Thank you, ma'am. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you much. No.
You better not say it. I'm just
No,
kidding.
no.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
My name is Stephanie Lindsay, 75 Longview Drive, Oxford, Georgia, 30054. And I'm going to take off my attorney hat for a second. I'm going to first start by saying I applaud all y'all because it's very hard to be an elected official anywhere in the United States these days. You got people on one side that want one thing, people on another side that want something else, and you're in the middle, and Lord knows I've given a lot of y'all hell over the years. But I sit in these meetings, and I'm cringing at some of the things that are done because I feel like, I don't know if the decisions are being made because of pressure or what, but all I can tell you is you've got to educate yourselves about some of these issues. That decision that was made today about funding, Juneteenth, I'm black, so of course I'm going to support Juneteenth, period. But we have a policy and a procedure that when you are a nonprofit organization and you want funding for something, you go out there and you solicit donations. Commissioner Henderson said it's only $1,500. That's today. Not to correct anybody, but Juneteenth is not a federal holiday. It is a state-recognized holiday, which means that you guys have opened up the door, even though Lloyd tried to tell you not to do it, you've opened up the door to allow any organization who wants to do a parade for a state holiday to come in and ask for $1,500. I'm black. I can't hide that. I would be pissed if my tax money went to the Sons of the Confederacy to support a parade that they want to have here, because there is a state-recognized holiday that's a Confederate holiday. What are you going to do then? You have to remember what's good for the goose is good for the gander. When you give to one, you got to give to all. So, as you have done in the past, when you have not realized fully the ramifications of the decisions that you've made, you've gone back, you recalled, and you do what you need to do to make it right. You guys have to do something about that, because I'm telling you, you're talking about a crowd of people that are going to come up here when the Sons of Confederacy come in to ask for $1,500 for a parade. We're trying to take down the statue, and you basically open up the door for anybody to come here and ask for money. I will be happy to donate the $1,500 to the organization. That's what it should have been done. Nobody came to ask me for money. They used to come and ask for money all the time. Other people that want to support Juneteenth can also donate. That's how we do that. We donate. We don't get county tax money to pay for situations like that. We don't do that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Archie Shepherd, 9169 Village Ave. First of all, I'd like to say I totally agree with what Ms. Lindsay said, because if you have the Klans come up here, they're going to be able to do the same thing that you just did. And I totally agree with what she said. But that's not the reason I came up here. I came up here, maybe it's a twofold thing I'm going to say, to make an appeal and ask for consideration. And I don't expect for y'all to do that tonight, but I would ask you to consider it. In 22 years of my commissioner, J.C. Henderson, serving this community, I would like to ask the commissioners to consider naming Nelson Heights Community Center, J.C. Henderson Community Center, or naming the road going out there to the center. I think he deserves something to be named after him. All other buildings are being named after other people, and the work that he have done in this community. I was surprised. I asked J.C. the other day, I said, J.C., have you ever been rewarded the King Holiday, I Have a Dream? He said, no. I said, I was awarded in 2012. I have over 14 awards that I have been awarded. J.C. doesn't have it. And I would say to the youth today, out of every commissioner that have ever served up here, when they left here, they were more well off than they were when they came here. And the other thing that I would say to each and every one of you tonight, if you was to go to J.C.'s bank account, and I don't even know whether he have a bank account, I bet you wouldn't have $500 in there. So what I'm saying, please give this man some kind of recognition while he's living. We recognize so many other people, And I would ask y'all sincerely to consider naming something after J.C. Henderson. Thank you for your kindness.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, all.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Gladstone Nicholson. This is a bit restrictive. I live at 495 Lakeside Circle. It's on the west side of the county. It's good to see you all again.
Good to see you.
And good to see you, Commissioner Sanders. I'm here tonight, not so much about what's going on tonight, but since it's citizens' comment time, I understand there's something coming up in the city of Porterdale sometime next week at the council meeting about changing zoning for the old golf course at Brown Bridge and Crowell Road. Now, some of us may remember how that annexation into Porterdale was maybe sub rosa or surreptitious, but it was done. But now the city of Porterdale wants to convert that place to a multifamily development. I have no problem with multifamily development. I have no problem with development if it's done right, if it's done well thought out. I hate to see future land use maps just willy-nilly changed because a developer asked for some property. And all I keep hearing is, oh yeah, we'll give them deceleration lanes and acceleration lanes, which means not much. But the idea here is that particular property is in the city of Porterdale, but yet all negative impacts will be felt by the citizens of Newton County, partly and primarily because of how it was annexed in the first place. All spillover will go from that city directly onto Crowell Road. We talked about Crowell Road being already overcrowded. I'm not sure how many roof occupants they expect to build, but whatever they build, it's going to impact negatively. And I hope the commissioners here will talk with the city council members of Porterdale, because they're not going to get any bad effects. If you look at the map and see how that place is set, no, it shouldn't even have been annexed. And I'm suggesting now, you commissioners see about de-annexing that property back from Porterdale, because first of all, I do not think Porterdale has the capacity to take care of the solid waste that that property will generate once it's full. I don't think Porterdale has put any money into that property, but yet still they get tax revenue from it when it was operating. And now they're looking to get a bigger tax revenue with zero impact on their city. I think that's wrong. There are citizens of Newton County who are complaining about it, and I hope you commissioners will see it as not just a district-wide problem, but intergovernmental problem between the city of Porterdale and the county of Newton County. Commissioner of Newton, and how do we address that? Because right now, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, or you had any idea or any intention of seeking some kind of accommodation, but really I think the only accommodation we ought to be looking for is de-annexing that back from Porterdale. And if need be, put it to a vote of all the voters. Just like how there is a vote to annex parts of that great tech park into the city of, what is up there, in Walton County, I think it's equally justified for citizens here to de-annex that property back in the county so that the county have all jurisdiction over how it's going to be built and all its impacts, whether negative or positive. And my time is done. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Have
sir.
a great evening. Good to see you all.
You too. Anyone else? Please.
Frederick Johnson, 1036 Highway 162, Covington District 2. How about that? I'm so glad that you've decided to take a look at 162 and the Moat Road intersection. While we're at it, let's go ahead and try to see if we can get a decel lane there somewhere close to the church and so forth. And also, if any way possible, we have about, I don't know, I think it's about 10 subdivisions from Lovers Lane Road down to Chestnut Road, right and left, and traffic is tremendous. We really need that traffic, you know, to slow down some. We need to have DOT to take a look at it, do whatever they need to do to try to slow it down and everything. So I'm just glad that something's going to be done at the intersection. We need to have some kind of idea of what's going, you know, what the plans are, so we can present it to the church and so forth and so on, so everybody will be knowing exactly what's going on. Okay? Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. Again, thanks to all the commissioners that were able to attend my my dad's the pavilion dedication at the Miracle League Field. That was very nice of you guys to come out on a busy Saturday. I know other things you could have been doing. The second thing is one of my constituents sent me, Lloyd, and I've lost it. I inadvertently deleted the message. There are signs that they were suggesting we use for the ATV riders in the neighborhoods. She also sent me a video of some folks riding ATVs in the neighborhood, in the street, in the yard, and in the side yard, and stirring up the red dust, and it was just an absolute mess. And those things are becoming a bigger and bigger problem. We've got to address that as a county, just like we did the trash. So we've got to address that somehow. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. You are, but we got to figure out, law enforcement, us, all of us together. So just want to make you aware of that. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First thing I want to say to Mr. Johnson, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. It was definitely an honor to be able to make this happen and to make this possible. I am aware that Moat Road and 162 has been a major issue since I've been in office. And so it was just an honor to be able to work with our transportation director to make this happen. And so we're looking forward to not only starting the engineering on that project, but to complete it to ensure that our citizens on 162 do have that traffic. I know there are some new subdivisions that are coming there as well. And so we want to make sure that we make that traffic easier and not as congested. So I'll definitely be working behind the scenes to make sure that we can actually address and resolve that concern as well. I also wanted to talk about May 15th. It will be the District 2 cleanup. I encourage all of our District 2 citizens, as many as you possibly can, if you can, please clear your schedules to come out. We're going to meet at Denny Dobbs Park at 9:00 a.m. And so I'm asking all of you to go and register. I'll put the flyer out on social media. It's on, I believe, on our Newton County Facebook page as well. If you go and register, I'm asking you to please come out and help us. We want to do everything we can to do our part as citizens to keep our community clean. So that's going to be a really, really important day. Then also on May the 20th, just to reiterate, the ribbon cutting for the splash pad at Denny Dobbs Park. We want to ask everybody to come out, those that are available, at 2:00 p.m. at Denny Dobbs Park. We will have the ribbon cutting. We haven't released this information yet, but we're also going to be doing the ribbon cutting for the skate park the exact same day on the 20th. They will be finished with the skate park on May the 14th. Yay, I'm excited about it. And so we will have the ribbon cutting for not only the splash pad, but we will also have the ribbon cutting for the skate park on the 20th at that same time. So we'd love to have you all come out and enjoy the festivities. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
I wish Mr. Gladstone was still here. I want to address the zoning that's on Crowd Road. Lloyd and I had, Mr. Kerr and I had a meeting about that on Monday, and he did say that he was going to get the county to send over some concerns. I even got a call at 9 o'clock late last night from the residents that all live on that Crowd Road area who were in opposition and were not even aware that the golf course was actually about to be rezoned to build apartment homes, multifamily homes. So I wish he was here to hear that. So the county is trying to do some things in effect. Thank you, Ms. Lindsay, also for making that donation to the Newton County Historical Committee, because that was one of the things that they had concerns about, is that they've been doing this for 5 years and no one actually reached out to make a donation. So thank you for that. So I wish Ms. Terry was here so you guys can go ahead and complete and settle that transaction. In regards to May 15th, the Kidpreneurs Day, which is Kidpreneurs Imagination Creation. Sherry Shamrock, who actually won the Steve Harvey Fundone, she actually has a patent product, and she's going to be teaching online at 3 p.m., which is sponsored by the District 3 community, to teach children how to become kidpreneurs. And for those who know me, that's one of my passions, and I'm glad that proclamation actually went through with Chairman Baines. The young men are actually in my district, and their mom reached out to me to find out how they can get a proclamation, and I actually referred them to Chairman Baines. They actually reached out to Commissioner Henderson first, who referred them to me. So I really am glad that that actually occurred. So that's all of my comments. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to just kind of say this, and I have lived here in Covington, Newton County, my entire life. I was born, raised here, and I was educated here, and I've just been around a long time. And since I've been on this board for a year, I stood up. I didn't sit down and say, well, this is what they want or what they're going to do. I thought about what was best for the community as a whole. I remember when the skinheads and KKK were here on this square in Covington. My mama drugged me all the way down to Sand Hill where we live in that old shack. And I said, when I become a man, I said, big boy, when I become a big boy, hey, won't nobody run me nowhere. So if me trying to help an organization is simply trying to say that how they kept people of color uninformed for all them years and for $1,500, I stand up. I stand up right now because I'm going to stand up for what needs on the community. And if by chance some organization comes, I can't speak for nobody else, and if I'm here, then I'm going to support and vote for what is right. I'm going to continue not to support a plantation that the Newton County, that we pay for, the taxpayer. I'm not against people owning plantations. I'm just against supporting plantation with county money. And it seems nobody never says a word about that. They don't care, you know, and they can do reenactment down there. You say, well, they come and do a reenactment at $1,500. They can do a reenactment down there. And I've asked for a resolution of sort that says we don't do stuff like that, especially on county property. What you do on your own is okay. So I'm going to stand what I think is right in the community. With little or no money, with pennies, but I'll stand. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Calvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess what's come back on everybody's radar is where we are with Spring Hill Park, and we have been working on that, still trying to find a location that's suitable. The county-owned property, we originally done a kind of a site plan to look at that. The topo on some of the county-owned property is so bad that it really wasn't feasible to grade that property on that lower end. Now, the upper end of the county-owned property does not touch 162, but I've asked the chairman to look into talking with one of the owners out there to see if there's a possibility of a right-of-way into that county-owned property. And there is some other properties out there we've looked at. We've not decided on anything at this point. The goal is to get something that the community is going to be proud of. So we're not moving tremendously fast, but with the money that we have set aside for that is still there. But I think that in the long run, Patience is going to be the best alternative here to get the best park out there for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to take the opportunity to thank again, Sarah Hall and Shane Short for all that they do to sell Newton County and make sure that Newton County is put in the best possible light that we possibly can be put in. Also, I'm gonna tell you, they was debating about that check at our last JDA meeting, and I said, Lord, I done told Commissioner Edwards and Commissioner Mason and Commissioner Sanders and Commissioner Henderson and Commissioner Cowan and the county manager. I said, we're gonna get this money coming back to the county, and they was juggling balls, and I said, Lord. Then Lloyd walked in. I said, oh, Lord. And but we stayed to it, and all the guys, and they agreed, and at the end, they was excited about giving back to the community. So, Commissioner Henderson, the board and you and Chairman Morgan did back, and I think it was 1998. We commend y'all because it's paying off for this community in tremendous ways. We're gonna keep pushing and keep pushing, and we're gonna keep. Guys, I'm gonna tell you, you're talking about getting the citizens of this community tax relief. That's how you give them tax relief. You bring in industry that will help fight off some of those taxes. So that's what we're trying to do. I greatly appreciate all of you. We do have a need for executive session tonight, potential litigation and land acquisition. We will not be taking a vote when we come out. So guys, we greatly appreciate all of you for being here tonight. I seek a motion that we move into executive session. The motion by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Sanders. All in favor? We're moving into executive session.